Next one. Would you be okay with your friend doing business with your enemy?
You asking me?
Yeah.
I can't go to the Max B party because you're my friend. Yeah.
Why?
Because you my friend.
What?
Yeah. Talk about it.
Man, this whole situation is looking wild right now. This gotta be either the slickest podcast rollout ever, or somebody working over at the Let's Rap About It podcast is clearing out their locker tonight. There's no way this all just happened by accident, because the timing is way too perfect to be random.
Just last week, word hit the net that Mano refused to pull up to Max B's welcome home party out of respect for his bond with Jim Jones. That alone had people locked into the story. Like, okay, so we still picking sides over this Wave versus Capo history? The internet started buzzing heavy, dissection threads, think pieces, gossip pages, all of it. Then the very next day, here comes Dave East casually popping up at Max's welcome home dinner like it's just another night in the city. No hoodie ducking cameras, no sliding in the back door. He's front and center, smiling, chilling, clapping it up like the room isn't loaded with history and tension. That one move had the streets talking loud. Some folks hopped online saying Dave East was moving disloyal, acting like he stabbed Jim and Mano in the back just by sitting at that table. Others were defending him hard, pointing out something simple. Dave did records with Max B, he already had a cool relationship with him, and he never had real beef in this whole situation. Why would he skip a dinner he was personally invited to? And honestly, that argument makes sense. Dave never dissed Max, never chose a side publicly, never threw dirt on anybody's name in this whole long-standing situation. So from his view, he's just showing love to someone who finally came home after years inside. That's not crazy, that's human.
I heard some shit about you. I heard some shit about you on the internet.
About me too, man.
I heard you got kicked. What they say?
Flavors. Got that horsepower, baby. That's nice bigger valve. I use it myself.
Yeah, they did. Said you was dead. Said you was out. I didn't even remember. This was crazy. That's what they told me. Said he was out. The internet kicked you off.
I can't rap about it no more.
But people don't know. You see, both of us had different opinions, and I think it's dope that because I always feel like two things can be true at the same time.
Right.
Right? You felt one way, I felt another way.
Right.
You went to the party.
What made it even more interesting is how calm Dave moved through all of it. He made it clear he wasn't stressing about drama or comment sections. He knew he was cool with Max, cool with people around Jim and Mano, and he knew they were all probably going to see each other that same weekend anyway at different spots in the city. That's New York for you. That's exactly why Dave laid his dinner fit out like it was the first day back to school. Clean drip, no confusion about who he was there to support, ready for pictures, ready for energy, and clearly ready for whatever conversations came with it. This man came prepared, not hiding from a single camera. Dave kept telling people around him the same thing. He knows how this rap game moves, and he's not about to get stuck playing a childish role in grown man politics. One week, everybody is yelling at each other online, posting subs and throwing indirect shots, and the next week they right back hugging at the club like nothing ever happened. The only person who ends up looking goofy is the one who picked a side too hard and got left in the dust when peace got made. He's been saying that nonstop. He's not burning bridges that he never built to begin with. Then yesterday, that brand new Let's Rap About It podcast episode mysteriously leaked, and whoever dropped that audio knew exactly what they were doing because the clip was crazy. The timing, the moment, the topic, all perfect. You hear one of them in the room say, "Yeah, they did," and from there the tone shifts. The conversation turns serious. Dave East finally laid out his whole thought process to Mano and Jim Jones, and he sounded calm but firm, like he meant every single word he was saying and wasn't taking a syllable back. Now look, Dave already knew people online were going to clown a little, saying stuff like, "Why a grown man asking another grown man for permission to go to a party?" But when you really think about it, that's not weakness, that's respect and communication. That's making sure nobody is confused later. Honestly, that type of conversation is something more people should do. It's way better for somebody to tell you straight up, "Yo, I know you don't rock with this person right now, but they got hookah, they got food, they got bottles, it's a whole vibe, and I'm sliding. I don't want you surprised if you see me shaking his hand or saying welcome home." That's grown energy right there. Nobody gotta agree with it, but you can't say it's fake. He didn't sneak, didn't hide, didn't lie about it, didn't try to act like he was somewhere else that night. Dave showed he understands how sensitive certain relationships are, especially when history and respect are involved, and he still chose to move honest instead of messy. I don't know what Jim Jones truly feels inside about all of it, but you gotta salute Dave East for refusing to play the pick a side game like some rookie in the industry. He stayed true to what he felt was right, and he walked straight into a room full of old tension without flipping on anybody he already rocks with. And at the same time, he knows this is perfect content for the podcast episodes. He's not slow. He knows the whole internet is waiting to hear him talk about Max B, and they want to feel his tone, not just his words. Here's where things really start getting wild. During that leaked podcast audio, you can hear the whole room get quiet when Dave East starts breaking down how fast the streets flipped on him just off one dinner invite. 1 minute, people were cheering him on and reposting his music, and the next minute they were calling him fake simply because he showed love to Max B. That pressure was hitting from every direction. Dave explained that as soon as the photos dropped from Max's dinner, his phone went crazy. Text after text, call after call, like he just signed up for a scandal.
That cop was like, yo, bro, how you feel about that? Because I got invited. Directly, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna definitely have that convo with bro before I just pop up and he gotta hear about it. That's just me.
No, it's definitely honoring it, though. And I think, like I was saying, like me and Fad was talking earlier, as individual men, we don't always have to have the same feeling, right? I felt like because of the relationship I didn't build with Cap over the last 5 or 6 years, that I just felt like it wasn't in me to go stand next to anybody he had an issue with or whatever, because the relationship is strong and it's past.
People were asking him why he pulled up, who invited him, who he sat next to, who he spoke to, acting like he committed some kind of crime instead of just having a meal with a man who beat a heavy sentence. He said it almost felt like he betrayed somebody just by showing face, and he wasn't having that at all. He didn't accept that he should feel guilty for showing love to someone who just touched freedom after so many years. That part of the story really hit because it shows how fast the internet can turn support into pressure. In the middle of that conversation, there was a little audio glitch where somebody said, "flourished on this side and this," and you can hear people kind of talking over each other. But once it settled, Dave told Mano and Jim straight up, he's cool with both of them, and he's cool with Max. He made it crystal clear he's not burning any bridges over a problem he didn't create and wasn't around for when it started. That line hit the room heavy because it was the pure truth. He didn't jump in any of those older wars. He didn't tweet about it back in the day. He didn't shoot diss records. He wasn't in those meetings or that paperwork. He's literally in the middle of 2 different camps who have long history. And he's still trying to move like a grown man without getting dragged into past drama. The craziest part is Dave said he honestly didn't think the internet would go that crazy over him being at the dinner. He thought it was going to stay more private, a quiet celebration with close people. But someone in that room clearly had different plans. He said once he saw folks pulling phones out, recording angles like they were working for a gossip blog, he knew at least one clip was going to escape. Once that happened, he knew he had to meet the story head on through the podcast and speak his truth loud so nobody could twist his side later. That's why that leaked audio felt so real. It was him clearing his name directly to the people most affected, not to strangers on social media. The part that had everybody's jaw on the floor was when Dave finally revealed what happened even before he walked into that dinner spot. He said people across the city were already whispering about him just because his name was in the same sentence as Max B and Jim Jones at the same time. That's how fast rumors move when old history still lingers in the background. He said he started getting calls before the dinner even started. People were hitting him like, "Yo, you know this might cause problems later, right?" Trying to plant the idea that showing face would equal picking a side. And according to him, he just laughed because in his mind, he wasn't beefing with anybody involved. He told them straight, he was showing up to celebrate somebody finally coming home after years inside. That was his only motive. No shade, no sneak disses, no hidden agenda. Just support for a man getting his life back after watching the world through bars for too long. That alone made some folks nervous because they didn't know how the story was going to spin after the photos hit the timeline. Then he admitted something that really shocked the whole room on the podcast.
That's game.
Yeah.
Yesterday. Now, Mano, you were there, and people were believing
people
that y'all went together.
Right. Absolutely not. I didn't even see him. People got to understand it's an 80,000 stadium.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why it was such a big deal is because you have
because I
let's
said,
rap about it with Jim Jones.
Right. Understand that I got a relationship with him. So my whole thing is this: I really understand that I don't come from the same world a lot of people come from. If I got a relationship with you that extends past professionalism and it's personal, I'm at your home, and I know your parents, right? I just don't feel right if you at odds with somebody else, right? Knowing that we got a personal relationship, going out my way to go congregate or party with them, right? Now, that's a choice. Seeing them somewhere else is not, right? Because two things can be true at the same time. I can respect my relationship that I got with you, but at the same time, it don't mean no disrespect to somebody else. It means that I'm just clear on where I stand.
So would you have taken a picture if y'all did run into each other?
I mean, I can't say that, right? Because the truth of the matter is,
He said when he walked in, he expected maybe a couple cameras from the team, a phone or two, some light moments captured. But what he stepped into felt way bigger than that. He said the whole dinner felt like a movie set. Lights bright, phones up, people whispering while recording. Folks picking specific angles like they were shooting a documentary or planning a viral moment. Dave said right then he knew somebody in that room wasn't just celebrating, they were trying to create a moment and they wanted him in the frame. When he told Mano and Jim that, both of them went quiet for a second because they understood exactly what he meant. Someone in that space saw content, not just friendship. Someone looked at Max B's return and thought, this is going to blow up online, and they were playing chess with it. That's why the leak of the podcast episode doesn't feel random to a lot of people. It feels like the next step in whatever media play somebody is running behind the scenes. Between the dinner footage and the recorded conversation, it's clear Dave's name is being used as a key part of the story, whether he asked for that or not. At the end of the day, Dave East pulling up to that dinner showed something a lot of people forget in these old school beef conversations. Eventually, everybody got to grow up. Nobody is trying to be out here fighting over situations they weren't even involved in from the start. Nobody is trying to risk their freedom when they've got families, careers, and money to protect. These dudes are not 19 anymore. A lot of them are hitting their late 30s, 40s, and some pushing 50s, carrying decades of history and stories behind them. That kind of weight shouldn't control their entire future forever. At some point, people have to decide if they're going to keep reliving the past or start building something new. If Jim Jones could eventually make peace with French Montana after everything that happened between them, then logically, there's no reason he can't eventually sit down with Max B too. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be next month, but the possibility exists. Time has a way of humbling everybody. Dave knows this better than most. That's why he refused to let folks pressure him into choosing a side. He's seen how many times people who swear they'll never speak again end up in the same room years later, shaking hands quietly when the cameras are off. Meanwhile, the fans who took the beef to heart are the ones still arguing online like it's fresh. He said on that podcast he's not going to be the one that burns a bridge then has to awkwardly walk it back in 5 years when the same people hug it out for business or family reasons. He's moving smart, staying honest, and keeping communication open with everyone he respects. That's strategic and mature at the same time. The thing is, the whole Let's Rap About It platform is built for moments exactly like this. Raw, uncomfortable, grown conversations in front of the world. They know that when names like Max B, Jim Jones, Mano, and Dave East get mentioned together, the internet pulls a chair up instantly. That's why a leak like this hits so hard. It feeds both the drama watchers and the people who care about real resolution. Looking at the bigger picture, this whole situation is bigger than just one dinner, one podcast, or one leak. It shows how old beef, street politics, and new media all crash into each other in the 2020s hip-hop. Max B is freshly home after doing Real Time. Jim Jones still has a long history tied to his name. Mano plays his own part in the middle. And Dave East is the younger bridge trying not to drown in the waves between them.
They did. He said you did. So I didn't even have you remember. This is great. That's what they told me. The internet kicked you off.
I can't rap about it no more.
Because people don't know. You see, both of us had different opinions, but I think it's dope that because I always feel like two things can be true at the same time.
Right.
Right? You felt one way, I felt another way.
Right.
You went to the party, but you had already had a conversation with Harlem. Talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like I never was around him, Max. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we had our own relationship through who we know or whatever. And me being around Jim as long as I've been around Jim, and Jim being around my moms and my kids, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta.
The energy around Max right now is pure celebration. People are happy to see him back outside, smiling and living life after so many years of lockdown. But the energy around his past with Jim is still complicated, full of pride, hurt, business issues, and damaged trust. That's the part the internet keeps poking at, hoping for either a clash or a conversation. What Dave did by giving Jim a heads up and still showing up anyway might actually be the blueprint for how this new generation handles old problems. Honest communication, but no blind loyalty to situations they weren't involved in. Respecting history but not letting it trap them. If anything, this whole moment puts more pressure on the next move. Because now, fans are imagining something they never thought they'd see. Max B eventually sitting across from Jim Jones. Maybe even on that same Let's Rap About It set, talking about what really went down from both sides. And after seeing Jim patch things up with French, a lot of people think it's not impossible. I can definitely see Max B hopping on that podcast sooner than people think, especially now that the show is already tied to his name through this leak. It would be the perfect place to let him speak his own truth, not just be the legend people debate about from the outside. Until then, Dave East is standing in a tricky but powerful position. He showed love to a returning legend, kept it real with older peers, and refused to move like a puppet in a story that existed before him. That's the kind of balance more artists are going to have to learn as hip-hop keeps evolving. So now it's on the culture to decide how they view it all. Was Dave wrong for sliding to that dinner? Or was he the only one moving like an adult in a room full of old emotions? Either way, one thing is clear. Max B is home, the conversations are back, and the next chapter in this saga is just getting started.